So, hi everybody. I am Elaine Nieberding, and I'm hailing from the state of Maryland in the United States, and I spell that Merryland. Let's have some fun today. Let's have a little bit of levity while we consider the topic of decluttering. I'm calling this Declutter Day 5. This is my fifth blab in a week. Well, not fifth within a week, but a fifth, meaning every Monday for the last 5 weeks. I decided to hold this series of blabs because I needed to create something for myself to keep myself accountable for moving forth in releasing stuff, decluttering, getting rid of the stuff that I simply don't need in my life. And I thought I would do something regular and ongoing and have conversation about it so I would keep myself on track, but also help other people to fuel their own movement, to get rid of their physical stuff and the attending mental and emotional stuff that that we accumulate during our lives. And we need routines and habits to refresh ourselves and allow ourselves more experiences of clarity and freedom and connection. And so what I would love to do is I'm going to pay attention now to my viewers here and see if they're asking me some questions. Let's see. We have Azar Adhem with us, and I did say hello to Jim Sharp. And I do want to acknowledge all of my friends over on Google Plus who responded to my announcements over there. Maybe some of you will be jumping in on this blab later or watching the replay, and that is a real nice thing. And one of the wonderful things about blab is the culture over here just is that hosts are invited to remind people. Tell a little bird, get the word out. If you think this topic is one of import, or you like the host, or you have felt like there might be something of value here for an even wider audience, then push the little button that is on the left side of your blab screen called Tell a Little Bird. It'll populate a message that you can send out on Twitter, and you can actually go in and customize that a little bit with your own text. But that's nice. So when I remind people to tell a little bird, I actually hold up my little owl here. It's not a Tweety bird, but it's my little owl reminding you when you tweet it out, then we get to inquire. I wonder who else might show up for this conversation. So right before I went on broadcast, I was listening to some music of Bob Sema. He is a singer-songwriter from Annapolis, Maryland, and I've heard him perform in concert on a few occasions. He has written powerful music that helps engage the human spirit and help us just get in touch with our soul, our core, our essence, and experience our connections with each other more deeply. So before I came on, I was listening to a song called How It Makes You Feel. And he encourages us to do things with other people, not so much so that we will remember what they say, but remember the feeling that we have when we're with them. So I hope in your time here today, you might open up to some new self-awarenesses and even some feelings about, could I tiptoe into that water, that visualization of what it would feel like if my home, my environment, if I felt totally free in it, if everything had its perfect space, and I didn't really have more in there than I needed at all. I have just begun getting into that space where I can start imagining what my environment might be like when I've gone through this decluttering process. I know I've had a lot of resistance to do it. I have shared on some of these programs before that nearly every year I do some seasonal decluttering, but I never really go very deep. And now I'm at the stage where I just want to go far deeper with it, far deeper with it. And and I need the support of a method and some other people. And so my second week into this program, I started reading The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, a New York bestseller, a New York Times bestseller by Marie Kondo, and it's probably on a whole lot of bestseller lists. And so I have gotten started on the process of decluttering. And what she encourages us to do is, over a period of months, actually, like 6 months, to do a major sorting out and discarding, going through category by category, the things that are in our homes, our belongings, and only keep those things that spark joy. And so I followed her advice, and I started with clothing, and I did this a couple weeks ago. And the wonderful thing about following this advice and her particular methodology is I actually had a result that I see now every day, and it makes me feel good. And I'm actually beginning to experience a different kind of, I'll even call it a holy relationship with, my articles of clothing and my shoes. I'm not taking them for granted. I'm enjoying how they're spaced and arranged in my closet and in my drawers. And when I'm hanging things back up, it doesn't feel like I'm doing an act of tidying. It just feels like every one of my items of clothing has its own special place. And as I, finish using it or wearing it, I hang it up, I put it back in that place, and I'm feeling a sense of appreciation for those items of clothing that I have selected that make me feel good, that I like the colors for, that I like the way they feel. And so that was a good place for me to start with my decluttering project. The next area that Marie Kondo suggests we do our decluttering with is with books. Well, I am a collector of lots and lots and lots of books. I have books in my bedroom. I have books in the guest room. I have books in my office. I have lots and lots and lots of books in my, what I call my former office. That has kind of been my dump room. And gee, it occurs to me, I also have textbooks out in my laundry room, where I have a big box. Well, Marie Kondo suggests that when you are doing your sort out of the category that it's time to thin through, that you bring all of those items to one area and you really see how much you have. You get shocked. You get shocked by how much you have. And so up until last week, I thought that decluttering, staging, sorting area was going to be the guest room of my house. And in fact, that's where I sorted my clothes. But for the books, it was going to have to be another place, because I heard from my son and he said, "Hey, Mom, it's not that I'm coming home in December to spend some holiday time with you. I'm actually going to be returning to Maryland in mid-November and staying for the Thanksgiving holidays and the Christmas holidays." So I'm now thinking, okay, my space in the house and how I'm going to be able to do decluttering is going to be different. It's going to be different. Okay, I can laugh, I can smile, I can go with what is and adjust to that. And so I will. So, what is the other room that I could potentially do some sorting out in? Because I have a whole lot of books in there, and that's the room that I call my old office, which has kind of turned into a dump room, a repository for just stuff. And so I made a huge bit of momentum this past weekend, beginning to tackle my dump room. My dump room has been there a couple years. It has not been functional as an office. And I could have the justifications. Well, I haven't done that because that room is a little cooler. It's a little damper. I got to fire up an extra heater if I'm going to be down there in the wintertime. But my, oh my, fueled by all the great progress that I did sorting through my clothes, getting together 4 bags of stuff, which are going to go to the 2 different organizations which are doing pickups in my area. A week from today, next Monday, and then a couple days later. Well, I have stuff that's going to be going on out. But I knew to get to my book sorting, I needed a new place to do it because books are heavy too. And so on this weekend, I went and I spent about 5 hours just organizing the crates of files and papers that were mostly littering the dump room, my old office. And as I went in there, I did it happily with a space of curiosity and joy and a very good intention. And actually, I was fueled with some work that I had done with a friend of mine that I know from Google+, Sherry Valentine, who is a teacher, inspirer, motivator, a shamanic healer, and a teacher of EFT, which is emotional freedom techniques. And she did on Blab last week a blab called Tappy Break. And it was all about shifting from I can't to I can. From I can't to I can. And I went through this really powerful process with her. And lo and behold, I felt like I had reconnected to my inner source of fuel so I could begin decluttering, organizing the space in my dump room so that then I could even begin my book sort. So I am really grateful to the friends that I have that are supporting me in this particular process. Now, I'm wondering, whoever's watching today, okay, I'm going a little bit into my story, but I would love for others that are watching live and replay to make some comments here in the comment stream. How are you doing with the amount of stuff that you have in your life? Have you made plans to do some decluttering of a minor level or a major level? And how have you done with it? We often have motivators to get the decluttering started, and I'm going to name some of them. So I would like for anybody who's watching to just think, are any of these things motivating to you to get started or restarted with really dumping your junk so you can experience more joy and freedom? Okay, so here's the first one. Holidays. Right now, it's early November in 2015. So here in the United States, we have Thanksgiving coming up at the end of the month. For me, that's a time when typically my whole family gathers here for Thanksgiving dinner. We have anywhere between 12 and 18 people in a given year. And so typically I do pretty good surface cleaning every year, but this year I'm going to do deeper cleaning. And then, as I mentioned before, my son is going to be returning home from Germany and staying with us a while. So, I have to get my space in my home functional and better. And I see that my friend Scott Scowcroft is here. Hey there, Scott. We've had kind of a kind of a quiet session over here with me doing a lot of the speaking. Oh boy, it's fun doing monologues sometimes. So I have an open seat and would love, I would love for somebody to come on in if they would like to talk about this decluttering. But what I'm talking about right now is what are some of the motivators to at least get started? Do you get calls from nonprofit groups that are going to have a truck in your area next week or in a couple weeks? Would that be a good motivator for you to think about, could I get rid of a top layer of stuff or maybe even initiate a deeper process? Maybe you're motivated to do some more decluttering because you notice the negative self-talk that's going on for you about the amount of clutter and stuff you have in your life is just louder and louder. And it's like, enough is enough already. It's time to get started again. Maybe as we approach this time of year, this November time of year, when for many of us, we're reflecting on the things that we're grateful for, we not only want to give thanks, but we can kind of fuel again our own capacity to give freely to others. So if we have a lot of stuff around our house that we don't need, books, clothing, items of utility, whatever, and we just pay them forward into community, into arenas where people need stuff, that can be a great thing. And we feel good as we do that too. Maybe one of the things that might fuel your getting into a little deeper into decluttering is to really begin asking yourself, what kind of relationship do I have with my stuff? Do I ignore it when I use the functional items in my home? You know, my towels, my makeup, my forks, my knives, my pots and pans. Do I really enjoy the design and utility of them? So that my cooking, my cleaning, my putting on my makeup, my getting dressed in the day really sparks my joy. And if it doesn't, then you might think about, it could be a good time for you just to go through your stuff and ask, what sparks joy? And then decide to keep just those things, just those things. Maybe you're motivated to think about decluttering because you know you need to make a physical move. Maybe your lease is coming up on the apartment that you own, and you know there's another space that will be more appropriate for you, your family, the kind of things that you like to do in your home. Or you just want a place maybe that's closer to where you commute to, for example. So a move can be another great motivator for decluttering. Okay, for me, the big motivator has largely been my negative self-talk. It was like, why do you keep accumulating all this stuff anyway? You know, do you just buy stuff because you get a thrill of getting a bargain? And then you use it briefly or enjoy it briefly. But, you know, if you keep bringing stuff in and then don't let go of an equal number of things, then you just get more and more and more. So I love it that my friend Scott is saying he's not set up for video at the moment, so he's not joining in. Doggone. But clutter is a quality of life issue. And I completely agree with that, Scott. At any point in time, we always get to decide, you know, like what we're satisfied with. You know, how do we like our space? And sometimes feeling bad or being non-functional in the way we have our belongings in our space shifts us into doing something different. Sometimes the amount of stuff we have and how it's positioned in our house or how we care for it in our house impacts other people. And if we examine ourselves closely, maybe what we do is not particularly kind to others. And maybe the way we keep our stuff also is a model for our kids. And what do we want our kids or the next generation to learn about the relationship we have with stuff? And of course, it's not just stuff. There are some arenas of spiritual thought and discussion that would say, you know, if it exists at all, it's holy stuff. And can you dare to experience the holy utility function in that thing? And maybe we get stuff and we collect it, we have it come into our lives, and it has some perfect purpose. But then, do we let it go when we're really done with it? And we're thankful about it, and we gracefully let it go. We have another visitor who's just come in. Hi, Zareli Muthana. Don't know where you're watching from, but we're glad you're here. We've been talking about decluttering over here in the West. It's a very common thing to just get in the habit of conspicuously consuming things, buying things, and sometimes for the right reasons, but sometimes for the wrong reasons. And sooner or later, it kind of catches up with us that there is just stuff to release, to set ourselves free. So I've shared with some of the others here that I have made some good success in the last 5 weeks of doing this show. I have sorted through all my clothing. I've been using the Marie Kondo method as my guideline for really releasing the stuff that no longer serves me. And I have recognized that this whole process is actually going to take a long time. It's going to take months, but I'm committed to this project, to succeeding with it this time for once and for all, because I want to simplify my life. There is a quote by Albert Einstein that goes something like, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Well, if I'm not being mindful with the objects and things in my life and in my home, then I think I'm really missing out on a rich experience that I could be having. I could be feeling fuller and richer with the belongings that I have. What I noticed in the last week, as I was appreciating the progress that I'd made in my decluttering, I noticed that it was easier for me to get into a state of flow with things that I was using in my kitchen, especially. The level of attention that I was able to bring to just washing my dishes, appreciating just the sound of the water flowing as I was washing my dishes. Just appreciating the shine of the pots and pans that I have, noticing the reflections, noticing the sounds while I was cooking. I just found myself being more mindfully present and in that place of appreciation. Now, I have not even gotten yet on into the kitchen or have gone, through the list of categories that Marie Kondo suggests we do our decluttering and, review process with. She suggests that we do our decluttering by category rather than by room location. And once again, she suggests that we collect all of those particular things in one area and get shocked by just how much we have. And then as we sort them out, basically hold every item and not so much think to find the answer, but feel from the inside. Does this spark joy? Do you spark joy, even, holding up that item of clothing or whatever? Do you spark joy? Are we meant to be together? And if you feel that zing, then you keep that thing. If you don't feel that zing, then don't keep that thing. Release it, release it, release it. Yep. Sorry, had to get a little goofy on here. But anyway, can you imagine having a relationship with the items around you? And, you even have conversations with them. Can I let you go? Can I appreciate you? Am I appreciating you? Gee, have I been like an orphan? Have I treated you like an orphan? For those that are here now, I want to let you know I have an open seat, and I sure would love to be having some conversation rather than a monologue about this. If you have, if you'd like to share a story about decluttering, or if you have a question about decluttering, or if you want to know a little bit more about this Marie Kondo method, then post some questions for me, because I'd really like to bring this a little deeper. I'm at 136, and I'm going to continue this conversation until about another 9 or 10 minutes. I really want to have some folks come on in with me. So maybe we'll magnetize some other folks to come on into the conversation. But anyway, what is it, for those of you who are watching, that makes you curious about this show? Have you done some decluttering projects and have some tips that you would like to share? I would really love to hear them. My whole idea and commitment to doing my decluttering in a new way is fueled by the success stories that I hear related to those who are actually following the Marie Kondo method. She says, you don't really want to just feel like, oh man, I'm always picking up stuff. I'm always picking up stuff. And it's a chore that you do every day. She says, wouldn't it be wonderful if you could live your life in your environment every day, appreciating the joy, the beauty, the design, and the order in the space that you really have created? But you can only do that when you only have like the right number of things. And you keep only those things that spark joy. So she suggests that once you have your environment created so that you only have the things that you truly need, those things that spark joy, then your daily activities of using things and putting them back in their own special place, that brings a sense of satisfaction. And then you never feel like you're doing a chore of tidying up. But to get to that place, what do you have to do? She says you have to make your commitment to your special event tidying, which is this major project of purging your stuff. And so, I got fueled early on in this process by going on over to YouTube and watching some of the kind of before and after stories that some people who were using this Marie Kondo method were sharing with us. They shared their before and after pictures, but also shared how differently they felt. And that when they released all this excess stuff in their life, they found their mind was free, emotionally, they felt much more balanced, and the number of times in which they could experience joy and flow and fulfillment every day just went up exponentially. On my second blab of Declutter Day, there's a great guy who came on into the blab. His name, well, his Twitter handle is Rocco Steady. And he shared the story that he heard about Marie Kondo's book. And as a hip hop music artist, he did some touring to different places in the world and found himself in Japan. And he thought, I would really like to meet Marie Kondo. And he just made the decision that it could maybe be possible. And so what he did was he tried, and he found that he was actually to meet with Marie Kondo. And so he was able to glean both from her energy and her information that she was sharing, just how transformative this process could be. So Rocco Steady told me that after he came back to the States, he spent about 2 solid weeks really going through all of his belongings and, you know, starting out in the order that Marie Kondo suggests. You start with your clothing and then books, and then you get to, you know, utilitarian items. And then later on, you get to, you know, things like papers and items of sentimental value. So those might be keepsakes or memorabilia and stuff like that. But the most amazing story that he shared with me was he actually went so far as to hold up his journals that he writes his creative ideas for songwriting in. And he asked, does this spark joy? And he actually got a signal that he too could let go of even that kind of thing, that he might have been in the habit of thinking, oh, well, this is just stuff that I use all the time for, you know, for my songwriting inspirations. I capture it, and then later on I go back and this is what I use when I'm creating my music. Apparently, he got a clear sense that a lot of the Marie Kondo method is to bit by bit connect us with our ability to be in the present moment, and to feel so completely free and secure that in every moment we're truly given everything we need for our meaningful life and life expression. And when we get comfortable with just letting go of stuff, there's a simultaneous infusing of energy and information and love that is always available to us. So Rocco Steady's story certainly inspired me. Sherry Valentine's tappy break experience of moving from I can't to I can fueled me forward so that I could go down and begin rearranging my dump room old office so that I can begin doing my book purge. And that is the next thing that I am going to do. So at this point, I think I'm going to close on out this blab. Since I haven't had folks come in today, I think I'm going to have to reflect on what might be a good time to hold this blab. You know, there are other blabs going on right now, in addition to this one. And maybe some of those topics have been a little bit more compelling than decluttering. Who knows? It could be. But anyway, I see someone has just come on in, Tabitha. I was going to kind of close on out this blab because it's been so quiet today, but I'm seeing my friend Jim Sharp has told me he's enjoying my blab, so thank you very much. But I'm wondering if Tabitha, would you like to come on in and ask some questions about decluttering or share a story about it? I would really like some company. I'm feeling kind of lonely here today. And I don't know if you've been on any blabs before, but actually they're rather fun. Anyway, Tabitha, have you heard of the life-changing magic of tidying up by Marie Kondo? That is our topic. And that is the method that I've been using to fuel forward my own movement. So Marie has said yes. So I guess she's heard about this book. Marie, can I interest you? Oh, Marie, it's Tabitha. Hi, Tabitha. Tabitha, can I interest you in coming on into the blab and having a little conversation? Okay, so so we have Tabitha Thompson, who's a veterinarian, I suppose.
That's right.
Who has gotten bold and has decided to spark some life into this Declutter Day conversation. I was feeling very, very, very lonely, except for my good friend Jim Sharp, which has been around the whole time. So Tabitha, where are you blabbing out from for the first time?
I am in southern Indiana right now.
You're in southern Indiana. So it's, it's cold. It's autumn.
It's nice out today. Beautiful.
It's nice out today.
I'm sitting out, as a matter of fact.
Wow. That's very nice. Very nice. It looks like a lot of leaves have already fallen in your area. Is that so?
Yes.
Yeah. So what I like about the autumn, in addition to all the beautiful colors, is that, autumn is kind of messy. It's pretty, but it's messy, And when leaves are falling off the trees, that's because they've served their useful purpose.
True.
They have gone through their process of growth and photosynthesis, and the tree has gotten larger, and then, that season is done. So they fall away. And it's kind of messy. And for those of us that, want to keep our yards neat, we go through raking, and we might have the best of plans on how it's going to go. But, the wind might kick up or the rain might start to fall, but we just want to keep on. So this whole topic about decluttering, it can be messy, but it can be fun. If you remember when you were a little kid, you probably raked leaves and then you thought, those look very inviting to just kind of jump in or want to pick up all the leaves and go like this.
Right.
Yeah. And do you have kids at all?
No, just dogs.
Just dogs. Okay. Well, they're like kids, right?
Yes.
Kind of. Anyway, tell me about your familiarity with the Marie Kondo, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up book. I've had this book just about 4 weeks now.
Oh yeah.
And it has changed the way I have approached, decluttering. Basically, my decluttering would be seasonal, and a few times a year I would do like a thin surface. Okay, I'll get rid of this. There's a truck coming next week from the Goodwill or whoever it is. Surely I can get together a bag or two of stuff to donate to others. But when you live in a house like I have for coming up on 30 years, there just is a lot more stuff that's accumulated that doesn't get used, doesn't get need, and it's kind of like orphaned. And then if you get into busy periods of your life where some crises happen, your house can get in disorder, you don't throw stuff out, and then it's like, I really need to get a handle on this. And so I was sharing with others. I started with a method sorting out my clothing, And now my beautiful closet and my beautiful drawers, it's like when I open them, it's
Yeah.
like I smile, and
Yeah.
that really fuels me forward. So have you started this process? Tell me what you're doing with the book.
Okay. Last year, we were trying to sell our house, and I always thought of myself as not a pack rat person, but I had a very uncomfortable feeling in my own home. And I later realized it's because I had so much junk, so much extra stuff, just extra stuff that I just didn't know what to do with. And I didn't want to get rid of it because I bought it, and just felt like it would be wrong to get rid of things without using them. Anyway, I was starting to thin things out already. Um, I did get rid of quite a bit of extra belongings, but then I heard about this book, I think on YouTube. Some other organizational person's video on YouTube mentioned the life-changing magic of tidying up. And so I got that book from the library just so I didn't acquire more extra books. And read the book. I don't know if I read it extremely closely, but just kind of skimmed over it, and I really liked the advice that she gave. It really isn't just a book about organization. I think it's a book about how to get in touch with your feelings about stuff and why you're hanging on to things and how to deal with those uncomfortable, confusing feelings that we all have and nobody really wants to talk about. It goes much further than just getting organized. And I used that book to get inspired to pare down even more. And I have to say that it really is life changing. My house now, I feel much more comfortable and relaxed, and just don't feel nervous about what am I supposed to be doing with all this extra stuff. And when I need something, I know right where it is, and there's less stuff to clean. It's so much easier. But I think the mental aspect's the biggest thing.
Yeah, so quick question again. Are you saying you did the decluttering before a move or after a move or concurrent with preparing for a move?
Yes to all of the above. It's a complex situation. We were going to move. I sort of did move for a short time, then ended up going back to the same place and not moving. So, if that makes sense.
Well, nonetheless, no matter what walls you were going to be around or in, it turned out that you were then going to go through category by category and clean stuff or thin stuff out. Did you do it somewhat that way by category, or did you default back to kind of some of the stuff doing it by location?
I'm trying to remember. I think that I did it more by location. Yeah, I think I did. Is that the way she recommends to do it in the book? I can't even remember now because it's been 6
yeah,
years.
And that, when I started with the book, yeah, one of the primary things she says, it's doing it by location typically doesn't yield the best results.
Yeah,
and she says for the people that follow her method, she said it really aims at you creating like the perfect environment. You really aim at creating that where you have so little, then the space you live in is enjoy. And she said for the private clients that she has, and maybe she's going over once a week or something. So, she's earning bucks, but they are continuing with this process, category by category, area by area. And so she says, like when it comes to your clothing, like you collect all the clothing together, you sort it out, and then you don't begin reconfiguring the space, the storage, until you really are pared down to the right quantity of stuff.
Yeah.
And she actually suggests that you have the same type of items, like in the same place.
Right.
Now, obviously, you'll have some items of utility, they'll be there where they needed.
Mm-hmm.
But she goes so far as to say, you use something, and when you're done using it, you put it right back.
Yes.
And even most things, I mean, so this is like extreme decluttering. You put
Yeah.
things away, they're in the cabinet, they're put away, so that then when you're looking around at the room, it's free space.
Right.
One of the in one of the earlier blabs that I had, we were talking about what it feels like when you go on vacation and you're in a hotel room that, like, there's not much stuff in it.
Right.
And you have one suitcase or maybe two, and you recognize how little you can really live with and function with just fine. And and I've noticed, when I'm on a trip like that, I have fun. I take my stuff out of my suitcase. I arrange it in the drawer, and
Mm-hmm.
then I stay picked up. So with my own clothes, and that's really the only area that, I have gone through and I have done, my relationship with my clothing is different now. It's like everything I put on, it feels like I'm in holy relationship with this shirt and that
Yeah.
shirt. And oh, and this, oh, and like, I really love my underwear. There's something so freeing about throwing out all your crappy underwear.
Yes, I agree.
And then you open your drawer, and maybe maybe you have 10 pairs of briefs, and maybe you had 25 before.
Right.
Who needed that many anyway?
Yes.
So
I went through a large clothing purge myself, and I have probably a fourth of what I used to have, and I still feel like I have too much. I still wear a small fraction of what I saved. So I'm going to go through again. I just keep doing cycles of it.
yeah, so that's good. Anyway, I actually think the investment in the book or getting it out from the library again might be helpful for you,
Yeah.
because and it's true of any book. When you go through again, or you spend a little bit more time, you'll get the depth of the meaning or the depth of the understanding, or it will spark something so deep for you, then it's like, oh, I didn't think I was going to get this
Right.
out of this. Then it's really surprising. So, as I've shared a little bit, even in this blab, I've had some just more moments of, just mindfulness.
Yeah.
That I have just opened up into that a lot more in the last week. I have also come to recognize how many of my patterns of collecting stuff have been related to this topic that they call FOMO.
Yeah.
The fear of missing out. Oh, I better see that. I better save that program, because that would be really good to watch. Oh,
Yeah.
I better buy that book because, oh, I don't want to miss that tip. Oh, I better pick that up at the yard sale because, man, what a bargain. I'll never be able to find an item like that at that great price.
Right.
And it's aligned with the wrong value, instead of really asking, is this the right item? Will it spark joy?
Yes.
And if I'm willing to bring this in, am I willing to let go of at least this many, if not 5 times as many, of the thing from the same category? So
I think, as I said before, it seems like the book is about much more than organization. I'm getting an echo. It's about more than organization. It really is about human psychology and dealing with some really deep things that you don't think is related to collecting programs and dishes and things like that.
Yeah, it's really about finding your way to happy. And that as we clear our physical space, that really can be in alignment with freeing ourselves mentally and freeing ourselves emotionally.
And realizing, I think, that you will get much more joy from your relationships with human beings and living creatures than any object. Once you get some of the objects out of your space, then you have more energy to devote to live humans. For me, that's my experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Human relationships. Yeah. What can we find our tap into our own deepest passions, motivations? What are the messages that we want to share to help lift the world, gift the world through, what I call these paradigm shift times? We live in a very dramatic time in human history, I think.
Yeah.
So before I close this talk on out, because it's basically been just you and me, babe, and that's been fine. I've been thrilled to get to know you. Um, any final inspiring thought you'd like to leave with anybody who might come and watch this on replay?
I the advice that I think would be helpful to many people is don't let the notion that you have to be perfect at this stop you from starting. I haven't done it perfectly, and I've still had a lot of benefits gained, and I just keep going. And I think a lot of people think I just don't want to get started. It's too much and I can't finish it, but it doesn't matter. Even if you start, you will benefit.
Yeah. So I've gotten started, and I just keep coming on this show every week. We've typically had a little bit more viewers, a little bit more lively discussion,
right?
but every week it's just my motivator to say, okay, I'm going to report something. I'm going to assess what kind of progress I've made. I'm going to recognize if I've had, thoughts that come up that want to sabotage the process, and how can I get through my I can'ts and get back to I can.
Yeah.
So I have, my son is coming home from where he's been working in Berlin, Germany. He's coming back earlier in November rather than December when I was thinking.
Oh.
So my staging area for doing a lot of my desorting, the guest room, it's going away.
That's a motivator.
No, it was a motivator. And so what it actually did motivate me to do last week when I found out the timeline was going to be different, it was like, okay, well, my dump room, my old office, which is in the lower level of my house, which has become like a repository for boxes, files, stuff. But where a lot of my books are, there, there's a bookcase or two in there. It's like, okay, I think it's time for me to get over my fear of that, that I can do anything with this room. And so I spent about 5 hours the last 2 days in there, and I was able to be in there, and I moved a lot of stuff around. The floor in the middle of the room is completely empty now. So yes,
good job.
I can do my book sort, and then when it comes to all the crates of files that I have, stuff is going back from my business stuff from 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And financial files. It's like, you know what? Somewhere somebody says, look, there's a list. You need to keep XYZ for so many years. Everything else beyond that,
I know.
let it go. And yet I haven't. So I know when I get the books, because those are like treasures to me, when I get the books pared down, I will also have that room in a way where I can actually put another bed in there during the Thanksgiving holiday, so I can
Nice.
accommodate another house guest or two. So that's good. And then I can get the fuel to also start working on the papers, because the papers
This
and
far.
the files could look like, why have I kept all this stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, but so once again, if you see an area or two that you have been able to succeed with, and you've released it and you've let this stuff go, then it does. It clears the space for beginning new habits, and that's mostly it. I now find I am much more careful, even on the internet. Do I need that favorite place saved? No.
Yeah. Right.
Do I need to download that file onto my computer? No.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, I'm going to thank you. I'm going to close this on out. So this has been Elaine Nieberding. This is Declutter Day 5. And you know, you can watch any of the previous Declutter Day programs just by going to blab.im.laughingelaine. It's right here.
I'm going to check it out.
And you'll see, you know, you'll see the earlier programs. They're also, I've also uploaded most of them up to my YouTube channel, which is Elaine Nieberding, which if you're watching live, you can actually see it up there. If you're not watching live, if this is on replay, my last name is Nieberding. I'm going to sing it like the Mickey Mouse Club song so you'll remember it. Nieberding, Nieberding, which actually has this esoteric meaning, the home of the new free place. That's another, that's for another show. But anyway, Tabitha, thank you so much. I'm going to say hi to this guy who says he wants to come in, and if he wants to talk about decluttering, I guess I'll talk a few more minutes. Let's see.
I'm going to sign off.
Thank you. Love getting acquainted. Thank you so much. Hey, Abdo. If you have good enough bandwidth, you can come on in. We'll talk about decluttering for a few minutes. Do you have the bandwidth? Do you have the bandwidth? If not, hello there, sir. Where are you hanging out from?
I'm from Algeria.
You're from Algiers. How about that? You are the first person I have ever spoken with from Algiers in this lifetime, anyway. So, hello. How are you?
What do you think about? Wait, I can't. Give me a few, okay? I'm downloading, but the connection is some few bad. You know.
Abdo, I will keep you in if I get a strong audio signal. Right now it's cutting up. It's cutting up. So I hope there'll be another time when you can come in when your audio will be better. Yeah, it's not such a good connection. It serves everybody better if we keep people in when their connection is good. So I'm going to cross my fingers. You have better bandwidth on another occasion. But take care, and if you are doing decluttering, then more power to you. And we can indeed learn from each other as we talk about this. Okay, so Small Biz David is here. Hey, Small Biz David. David, I love it that you're here. Let's see. Anyway, Small Biz David must have come in and out. I'm now at about 2:15, and I spent a long time talking to my blue light. I'm going to wind up this Declutter Day blab for now. I want to thank everybody who's come by on this program, Declutter Day 5, or any of the others, or any of the future ones, and have watched live or replay here on Blab or over on YouTube. For some of my friends over on Google Plus, I have posted the replays over there as well. But let's get together and fuel each other's capacity to release what we don't need in our lives and spark more joy, uplift each other, gift each other, and help each other through these paradigm shift times. Come back for another Declutter Day. Thank you, everybody. Take care.